Hey, crime fans!
Join us October 9th through 11th at
Crime Story Fest.
Crime Story Fest.
Crime Story Fest
At the Doubletree Hilton on Boston's North Shore, Danvers, Massachusetts location.
Crime Story Fest, all things crime and mystery festival.
Come visit us at Crime Story Fest.
What else you got going on? What, you gonna watch another documentary on Netflix? Come on down to Crime Story Fest. Enjoy yourself. Have a good time. Meet some of your favorite podcasters, authors, experts. This October, Boston, be there.
Hi, and welcome to Danny After Dark. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a notification or a new episode. Tonight is the weekly True Crime and Chill. I am doing this episode solo because for Mr. Beckham this weekend, the math ain't mathin'. So actually he is busy and with Shelly. So he has the night off. Not that he would be here on time anyways, but regardless, we are going to hang out still and discuss this week's current true crime news. I know he has been discussing the Nancy Guthrie case and kind of taking the lead on that for the past few weeks. And looks like I'm up this week to be the one to update y'all, but I have my notes, so we are good. So a few things administrative just to get out of the way before we jump in. So first, if you missed last night's interview with my friend Kadra from the Perplexity podcast, go back and check it out. I had so much fun, so much fun. Kadra is amazing. Love her. So again, subscribe to her podcast, her YouTube channel, social media, all of the things so that you can follow her. I'm not going to lie. I was just like very taken by some of the kind of more paranormal aspects of what we talked about last night. So it sent me a little bit down a rabbit hole after, when I was like, oh, I didn't hear about this when she mentioned this, or let me check this out. So that's a whole thing. But I'm really excited to do that. So, and I'm glad you guys got to meet Kadra. She is amazing. So check that out if you missed it. In regards to next week, so I do have, it'll be releasing a two-part interview that is pre-recorded. So part one will be next week. I believe I'm going to release it either Monday or Tuesday, but I'll do it as a live and be in the chat with y'all. So stay tuned for that so you can see who that was with. And that was a really, really fun interview and a really eye-opening interview, I would say. And stay tuned. I'm purposely being vague, so stay tuned for that. And that will most likely be next Monday night. I'll release that, part one. Book club. If you missed this month's book club, the live episode was on Tuesday. It was The Spider by Barry Levin. So check that out. And again, if you have read that book, or if you saw the review and you want to read that book and get your takeaway from it, please leave a comment on that. I love being interactive with you guys about true crime cases. I really love being interactive about books. Y'all know I'm a wicked book nerd. Like, love it. Love, love, love to read. So check that out. For March's book club, there is a poll up. Poll will be closing next week. I forget which day offhand. I'm just looking at the calendar. So get your vote in for next month's book club book review. And yeah, again, anybody who wants to participate and be live on camera with me, who has read the book, by all means, more than welcome. Or if you just kind of want to hang back in the chat, certainly cool too. Whatever works. This is for us. So vote for that. And then lastly, I believe all of my social media handles is down below in the description bar. If you are not following me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, the merch store link is down below, the Buy Me a Coffee, all of that fun stuff. So check that out if you are not already doing so. And lastly, the 2 events that I will be, well, 3 events actually, that I'll be at this year in April is Beyond the Crime Convention in Albuquerque, New Mexico. That is the weekend of April 11th. I will have a booth there and we'll be doing a live show. So if you are in that area, definitely check that out. The last weekend of May is Crime Con. So I will be there for the weekend in Las Vegas. Mr. Beckham will be there as well. And then in October, y'all saw the little commercial at the beginning of the show, Crime Story Fest. And that is here in Massachusetts. And I am just so excited for that. So yeah, get those on your calendar if those are events that you want to check out. All right, so let's see who's here and get started. Tony Stewart, been catnapping. I approve. I'm very jealous. Hey, Kane, good to see you. We need some cats in the background. I know. I don't know about tonight. They're somewhere in the house. Shelly, hey, everyone, we're actually just leaving the cheer competition right now where Mr. Beckham is sporting his best bling. What the fuck? Carrying his pocket pom-poms in his hand at toe touch. Videos to follow. Oh, dear God. Shelly, Beckham's phone did, I think, a butt dial. Yeah, and it wouldn't stop calling, and it was actually very obnoxious when I was trying to get ready for the show. And I tried calling him back, but what is going on? But he didn't answer. So, I would love a picture. But that's awesome that you guys are hanging out and having a good time. So enjoy your time with Beckham. I would say, I don't know what to say in regards to, do I give you my condolences or say, have a great time, have fun? I don't know. I'm just gonna, you do you, Shelly, you do you. Hi, Karen Diamond. Your hair looks stunning. Oh my God. Thank you. The cats are well. I don't agree with the Mr. Beckham will be missed, but that's okay. We agree to disagree. But thank you. And then I'm wearing my hang in there. I can't kind of see hang in there. It gets worse shirt. I was just feeling it. Today. So. Hi, K-Dog. Hello, Renee. Hello. Good to see you. I'm a cat. Hello. Block him. I would, does an hour go past without a message from Beckham? I don't think so. On my phone, I don't think so. And when you be like, oh, well, during the middle of the night, no. It'll be 3 a.m. and I'll hear my phone buzz. I'm just I'm not even looking at it. And it's usually something like, Danny, did you see this in the Nancy Guthrie game? I appreciate the enthusiasm with research and finding something and wanting to share it. But sometimes it's 3 a.m. No. Oh God, true story. He was walking with my daughter to get cookies, and what does he spot but the Unicorn Disco Club? Oh God. Beckham is Shelly, he has said in passing, talking about his 90s club days when he was a club kid. I don't know if he could do it now. I don't think he could do it now successfully. I would pay to see him try, but I don't think he could do it successfully. So that is that. All right, let's go ahead and dive in. And some of these notes that I have for tonight, I have updates actually on my in addition to in my Google Doc, but on my phone, because things were like kind of happening in real time today. How much you pay me because he was in there sporting news? You're lying. You're lying. No. Oh man, that he has no shame. He has no shame. God. You could like a page for like behind the scenes Beckham or Beckham Unplugged, Beckham After Dark. I don't know many things, but Shelly, I think the people would want if you created a page for that. And I would promote the hell out of it. I really would. I'd be your number one supporter. So just think about it. Little side gig there, Shelly. I think you could do very well. Put the clips for sale in the mortar. Oh, they're that good. They're that good. Oh man. All right. Yeah. We'll chat. I'm very intrigued. Hey Clifford, good to see you. So let's go ahead and start right out with a case that Beckham usually is the one to update the past few weeks, and that is Nancy Guthrie. So this week, there, as much as like a lot happens in the week, it's like one step forward, 10 steps behind type of thing, right? So the FBI made another sweep of Nancy Guthrie's home on Wednesday. And the articles that I was researching, they all consistently had the word final sweep of Nancy Guthrie's home. And I'm like, wait a minute. How can they say final sweep? What if something comes up, like the house is not being used, meaning it's not like there's other family there where it's like, all right, we need to get them back in. Because let's be honest, the Pima County Sheriff's Office released the scene earlier than they were supposed to, and then reclosed it off, back and forth, right? But what do you mean, like a final FBI doing a final sweep? I don't understand that because this is still unsolved. But nonetheless, that's what they're reporting. Final sweep of Nancy Guthrie's home on Wednesday. A video was made. So Savannah Guthrie is now offering $1 million in regards to the return for her mother. She says, quote, if you've been waiting and you haven't been sure, let this be your sign to please come forward. Tell what you know and help us bring our beloved mom home so that we can either celebrate a glorious, miraculous homecoming or celebrate the beautiful, brave, and courageous and noble life that she has lived, end quote. This was one of those statements from Savannah that I was just like, oh, I feel like for so long it'd been kind of like leaning toward the safe return of her. This one is just very putting it out there, like it could be either option, which is it's just heartbreaking for the family. It's just absolutely heartbreaking. In addition, this week, Dominic Evans. So he is one of the guys that plays in a band with Tommaso, the husband of Nancy Guthrie's daughter, Annie. So he has actually come forward and spoken to the media. The thing is, so he matches the description of the suspect wearing a ski mask and a backpack in the doorbell footage. Not saying it's him. He just has similar features. The elementary school teacher, which that's what he does for a profession. It's like, oh my gosh. So he's speaking out on the harassment that he's been experiencing and the accusations made against him that he is responsible for this. And what he says is, quote, I feel like someone's taken my name, end quote. In regards to the reasons why people have been accusing him, he says, quote, I don't know, monetary, clickbait, to be relevant, entertainment, but there are innocent people that get hurt, end quote. So it's interesting that we're now finally hearing from him, because that has been kind of whispered for the last couple of weeks in regards to the son-in-law, and he's in a band, and people are just really grasping at straws right now because nobody knows anything. The public, I should say, and law enforcement too. Nobody knows anything. In regards to the footage that we've seen in regards to the person that went up to the door that we saw in the ring, kind of camera doorbell footage, I've been seeing mixed reports in regards to the person, someone working with whoever kidnapped Nancy has been identified. They are in Mexico. And I'm like, wait a minute. They've been identified, meaning you know who this is. And yet that information hasn't come out for the public to help. There's so much that just does not make sense. And that's something we've been saying from day one, right? From day one. I did see Craig. I saw you pop in the chat. Hi, Craig. I hope you're doing good. Hugs to Daisy. It's like when rock bands go on their final tour, final until their next one. Right. But it's just like for a statement like that to be made, like final sweep of the home. It's like, so what does that mean? That the case is just going to go cold and put on the back burner and given up? It was very shocking to hear that, because how many times have they gone back? So let me pull up my phone, because I do have another update that I just didn't get time to put in the doc. So, okay. This came out today, not related necessarily to Nancy Guthrie being missing, but just like the craziness of what's happening. Oh, I love Daisy. You know what, Craig, you're getting the first star for tonight. You are. Yeah, I mean, you as in like Daisy's getting the first star, let's be totally honest, and then just you by default. But anyway, so a man was arrested for a DUI outside of Nancy Guthrie's home late Thursday after he was seen going 50 to 100 times this basically over the speed limit, like way more fast than he should have. But that's not like the real thing that is the creepy part about this. When police pulled him over, he was looking at a photo of Nancy Guthrie on his phone. So the quote unquote weird driver, he was spotted slowly driving past Nancy Guthrie's home in a blue vehicle repeatedly. Sorry. Rewind. He wasn't going 50 to 100 miles an hour. Sorry. He was driving by 50 to 100 times the house. Sorry. I knew I totally butchered that. So he was driving by the home slowly 50 to 100 times, looking at a photo of Nancy Guthrie. He was in a blue vehicle and also repeatedly stopped to look at a memorial set that was set up outside. So News Nation's Brian Enton has reported this, which Brian Enton has been on point and on the ground for everything for all of this. Like all the news we're getting is like mostly from him. But anyway, so the man was not publicly identified. But again, he had a picture of her on his phone. He ended up being arrested for DUI charges because he failed a field sobriety test. Law enforcement is saying it probably has nothing to do with her disappearance, but it's just creepy. And yes, there are people that go by. We see that with so many cases. If it's local to you, like it's like you're driving, you're like, oh, that's the house where such and such happened. Not saying that's okay, not saying that's cool, but curiosity. People will do it. Maybe just a drive-by, swing back around and go and be on their way. To drive by it slowly 50 to 100 times and have a picture of her on your phone, and then clearly operating while drunk. So weird. It was just weird. But yeah, that's what happened with that. So again, not related to Nancy Guthrie being missing specifically, but just another weird little side note in this case. Again, in regards to Nancy's case, while she is still missing, any updates, me and Beckham will make sure to update y'all next Friday, if any. And then obviously if anything breaks, big time news, that me and him will just kind of jump on like a quick thing and let you guys know. But I don't know. What do you guys think? There's so many places this is going in. And I listened to two really good podcasts episodes on Nancy Guthrie being missing. The first one was Zone 7 with Cheryl McCullum. Really great episode because again, she does this type of work for a living. And she did have a guest on with her and they talked about kind of what from beginning to end, what has been happening, what more so the law enforcement background position of like what this has been doing, what this means, what law enforcement should and more so should not have been doing as this case has been unfolding. Such a good episode. Check that out. And then also Body Bags with Joseph Scott Morgan. Joe Scott and Dave Mack did an episode a few days ago about this and Joe Scott kind of talking about the scene and the scene being released and kind of what that means for if somebody's caught and brought to court and standing trial, and then some of the evidence potentially being wanting to be brought in by the state, but a defense attorney is going to argue it because the scene was released. So that's something we've kind of touched upon for the past few weeks, but to have people who work the field who know this, like this is their job to say those things, it puts it more into perspective. So check out those episodes on those podcasts for a little bit more of a deep dive if that's something you're interested in. Can you imagine living next door to the Guthrie home, all the traffic, news people? Oh my gosh, Clifford, totally. And if from what I recall, the closest house, like neighbor to Nancy's, one of the things I read was that it was like, was it 4 miles away? It's a very secluded area. But nonetheless, it's not just this case, it's every case that happens, right? And this just happens to be like the case and the news story at the moment. So yeah, all the people that have, not only from there that are like, hey, let's take a drive. That's Nancy Guthrie's house, but people flying in, the media, camera set up there 24/7 recording everything. It's absolutely a circus is I think the best way to say it. Right. Tony Stewart, you're thinking the last couple of weeks, I'm thinking burglary gone wrong, but nothing was, but nothing was taken. I don't know. I feel like I've changed my opinion kind of as things have been progressing. And I know one of the big topics right now, and I'd love to kind of hear you guys' thoughts do you think the intruder was working alone or had a partner or multiple? I don't know. I tend to think solo, but I've been hearing, some good arguments in regards to how there could be at least one other person that would make sense. But again, I don't know. What do you guys think? It has, Tony, it has. And it should have from the beginning. I mean, this has been insane. Capone. Hello, Capone. Beckham was asking how you've been doing. We haven't seen you in a bit, hon. We hope you're doing well. I had to remind him that you are living that fabulous Vegas life. So he just needs to not be so jealous. Let's see what you're saying. It's a little slow at work right now, so I can pop in for a bit. Oh, good. Well, sorry. Friday night and you're working late, hon. Sorry to hear that. Wait, you guys are 3 hours behind. Yeah, it's still a little later than, a 5 o'clock checkout. But I hope you are doing well, hon. Don't work too hard. Have a fabulous weekend. Do all the fun things. Okay, Kane agrees. K-Dog, you are spot on. Yeah. Oh, you're off in an hour and a half. Okay, good. Don't work too hard in that time. Clifford says, there was an explosion next to one of my bandmates' house, illegal fireworks. Here back on 4th of July, local news and gawkers were parked on his property for days. Really annoying. For days? That's crazy. For illegal fireworks. Wow. Yeah, I'm sure. Oh my gosh. I'm sure the neighbors were pissed. Like, pissed. Obviously, when a tragedy happens, like something in like regards to like the Nancy Guthrie case, for example, like it's a mixed thing because something tragic has occurred. The media will cover it, but it makes sense to a point. To a point. The circus that comes with it, no. But that's the life we are living in this day and age, right? So again, I will keep y'all posted, as well as Beckham will keep y'all posted when he is back next week as well. So yeah, stay tuned. Corey Richins. So the trial has started for Corey Richins, the Moscow Mule mom, and I have been following and following and following, like I said I would, and there's so much to discuss. There's so much to discuss. One, if any of you guys have been following this, I'm curious about how you feel she's been presenting in trial. I do think from an aesthetic point of view, she is presenting herself very quietly, very, I don't know if demure is the right word, but very meek looking, I think is a good way to put it, which will be very important to how she comes across to a jury. Should that be the final thing that a jury focuses on? No, but let's be honest, how you present yourself does impact a jury. So some of the things that we've been learning about what has unfolded this week in the trial, I will wrap you guys up in and see what y'all think. Tony, I saw you pop in the chat. Hope you're doing good. I always get so jealous when you say greetings from Portugal. So jealous. So let me actually bring up my phone because there was another update regarding Corey Richins for today that I didn't get a chance to put in my notes. Okay, here we go. So, Tony, the number one. Hello, you guys are so funny. You guys are so funny. The Tonys. All right. So, the prosecution's opening statements and remarks during the beginning of the trial on Monday. Prosecution told the jurors that the evidence will show that Corey murdered Eric to inherit millions of dollars from his business, money from insurance policies so she could maintain the picture of affluence and success and start a new life with her boyfriend. The defense, their opening statements and remarks to the jury was that Corey is innocent and the target of vindictive in-laws who went to great lengths to implicate her in Eric's death because they refused to accept that he may have been treating chronic pain with illicit drugs and that he may have obtained those illicit drugs from a trip to Mexico that he had done a few weeks before he passed away. So body cam footage was played for the jurors on the night of his death from first responders. And that footage showed Corey's reaction to Eric's death after calling 911. Corey tells first responders that she and Eric had a drink the night before going to bed. Again, she made him a Moscow Mule, hence why she's been dubbed the Moscow Mule Mom. So this drink was to celebrate her closing on a $2 million house that she flipped. She also said she then went to comfort her son, who was experiencing night terrors. Again, these are all things, she has not taken the stand. These are things that the defense is putting forward. Again, she went to comfort her son, who was experiencing night terrors. She left her cell phone in the bedroom and was with her son, fell asleep in the bedroom with him. Around 3 a.m., woke up, then returned to her in Eric's bedroom and found him on his back, quote, cold and heavy, end quote, and not breathing. As we have come to learn, that is not all entirely true, because cell phone activity, even within your own home, your own apartment, your own condo, your own whatever living situation you are in, if you are going from room to room, your phone will pick up movement and activity. If you're on your phone, it will pick up activity. If you think you can delete messages, it's like, it's 2026. Yes, this happened a few years ago, but technology, right? So that was deemed to be not true. We have not got into that nitty-gritty aspect of her testimony, if you will, in regards to law enforcement of what happened. But be rest assured that dispute, inaccuracy will be brought up for sure. But again, her statement is, fell asleep in my son's room, didn't have my phone with me. It was in the master bedroom, 3 a.m., woke up, went into the bedroom. That's how I saw him and found him. Prosecutors this week called Corey's in-laws to the stand, specifically Eric's father, sister, and her sister's husband. They testified about learning about their family loved one, Eric's death, and the observations that they made about Corey's behavior that morning. David Pimentel took the stand as well. He was the canine officer, Summit County Sheriff's Office. So he discussed locating 3 prescription drugs in the bathroom of the Richmond home. Hydrocodone, doxycycline, and naltrexone. I totally might have butchered 1 or 2 of those, but those are the prescription drugs that he found in the home. So in regards to what those medications are, because I knew of 2 of them, did not know of 1, but I figured I'd just recap all 3. So naltrexone is a drug used to curb the desire for opioids. Hydrocodone is used to treat pain. And Officer Pimentel said he did not find the THC gummies in the house that Corey said Eric may have taken that night. Note the officer says he did not search the home outside of the master bedroom and bathroom. I found that interesting when I heard that. I was like, oh, okay, interesting note. Hi, Richard. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. So next, in regards to the stand, Margaret Offred. So she is an advanced emergency responder. She stated she arrived to find Eric lying at the foot of the bed. So she was really, really good on the stand, because she was saying, here's what I found. And in situations like the death that occurred, that is not normal, because here's what we typically find. And I'll get into specifics of what that means. Again, is every death scene going to follow the same kind of pattern of what you're looking at? No. And we know that. Things are going to be off. But when it's like, okay, here's what the cause of death was, and here's what his wife is saying, that doesn't add up to this, that doesn't add up to this. And when all those things that don't add up pile up, there needs to be room for pause, right? So again, she found Eric lying at the foot of the bed. She normally finds patients on the side of the bed. She stated she observed Eric's body was, quote, straight, end quote, and this was unusual, because what she usually finds is patients angled. She also stated she observed blood coming from Eric's mouth, but a larger amount of blood than what is typically expected to find. So again, I found her thus far, I would say probably the most interesting on the stand in regards to the information that we got, where I was like, oh, that is different than what I think the average person might come to see, because we're not experts. The jury is not experts. They don't know what is going to be, quote unquote, normal coming across a crime scene. You know, someone who works for, doing emergency services, first responder, EMT, This is their career. They do this day in and day out. So for something to be so out of the ordinary and to not only explain that to the jury, but to explain why, not just here's what I saw, why I saw what I saw and why it's different than what is normal is very, very important. So for her this week, she was one of the witnesses that was called to the stand to testify that I was like, okay, I got the most information out of, besides what we've kind of already been hearing in the media. So next, and I'm probably going to butcher the last name, Sergeant Andy Kernick, Summit County Sheriff's Office, stated, and this was very important, Eric had been dead for some time before medics attempted to resuscitate him. So yes, we do have the timeline in regards to what Corey was saying of going to the bedroom with her son who was having night terrors and then finding him at 3 a.m. So on the one hand, is it a big window? Yes, but it's also a small one as well. So for him to say, yes, he had been dead for a certain amount of time before medics attempted, that is very important, again, for a timeline. Chelsea Gibson, lead evidence technician, also testified that she was part of 3 searches at the Richens home to collect evidence. She created a 3D video walkthrough of the Richens home and recovered bags of THC gummies. Again, where one professional on the scene did not find that, Chelsea Gibson did. So what she stated, quote, the hydrocodone bottle was never tested for fentanyl. When I heard that, I was like, wait, what? What? Because that's one of the things that we're looking for in this trial, but okay. She stated no photos were taken of the kitchen, sink, or closet. No drug paraphernalia was found. For example, no vape pens, baggies, etc. On Wednesday, so this was earlier in the week, court ended early, like abruptly early, due to, quote, unforeseen circumstances and, quote, unrelated to the case. So when that happened, it was like, okay, all right, court's ending. So Tony Stewart, Danny, you froze for a second or two. Good now. Okay, thank you. The Wi-Fi has been better. I've taken steps to make sure it's gotten better, but if it's not fully cooperating, please let me know, as you always do. So thank you. So next on the stand, Carmen Luber. So she is the housekeeper. She plays a very important role in this. And the thing is, there were some things that were like very damning that she would say, but then there were other things where on cross, I'm sorry, just keep my notes up, where she was very discredited. So that's why I feel like the jury's going to have to kind of measure, like, how much are they going to take away from her testimony. So what I'm referring to specifically about her testimony, when she heard about Eric Richens' death, she questioned whether the fentanyl pills that she got on behalf of Corey Richens contributed to his death. She says, quote, please tell me these pills were not for him, end quote. Okay. Corey responded saying, no, they were not. Eric passed away from a brain aneurysm, end quote. What kind of statement is that? He passed away from a brain aneurysm? Like, okay. So, okay. Let me carry on. Carmen testified that she obtained drugs for Corey 4 times. Specifically, that in early February 2022, Carmen got some pain pills for Corey because Corey requested them. The second time, Corey requested, quote, something stronger, end quote. Carmen asked a friend if she knew anyone with opiate pills and was told that some fentanyl was available. Carmen testified she picked up $1,000 from a property that Corey owned and got a ride from a friend to purchase the fentanyl for Corey, and then got the pills and buried them in the fire pit at that property for Corey to then obtain. The third time Carmen got drugs for Corey was later that same month. So Corey told Carmen that the investigator was reaching out on behalf. Corey told Carmen that she was reaching out because she wanted something stronger from Carmen, specifically saying she wanted, quote, the Michael Jackson stuff, end quote. Corey got the pills from Carmen because Carmen was able to obtain them for Corey. On cross defense that was presented, this is where it's like Carmen's credibility was being very much put on display for the jury, and not in a good way. She has a long struggle with a drug history in the courts, so that was brought to light for the jury. The defense was focusing out drug tests done in February and March of 2022 that indicated that she was high at that time. And that's important because that is the same timing of when all of this was unfolding with Corey purchasing the pills and Eric's death. So the defense on cross was very quick to be like, you're on the stand. What you're saying is under oath. Make sure you're not lying. And Carmen's like, I know, I agree. I agree. And they asked her something to the effect of, like, have you ever purchased or used somebody else's urine? She said no, again, because for drug testing. Well, that was a lie. So there's that as well. Again, going after her credibility. In addition, so I have the quote. They asked her when was, quote, the last time she used. And then also, have you ever used anybody's urine? She says, quote, I've never used anyone else's urine. Defense, you realize you're under oath? She said, yes, I've never used anyone else's urine. But it turns out that she had. So again, the defense is just making her out to try to be a discreditable witness. And from an observer perspective, they're doing a good job. They're doing a good job. And that's tough in this because a lot of the information in regards to the drugs that were in Eric's system, how are they obtained? And Carmen's a big piece to that puzzle, if she's to be believed, in regards to how she supplied those drugs to Eric's wife, Corey. So yeah, it was, again, when she was being on the witness stand for the state, the prosecution, I was like, oh my God. But I knew she was going to really get it on defense, on cross-exam. And she did. Some things that were brought out were, again, worse than I thought in regards to really discrediting her. But we will see what happens next week. Those were my big takeaways. There were a few other witnesses that took the stand, but nothing that really jumped out at me that I was like, oh my God, I need to make a note of this to talk to you guys with. But again, if you guys have been following this and you have a takeaway from this, please let me know. And you don't necessarily even have to save it for the True Crime and Chill, just DM me. Just DM me, because yeah, your girl loves to talk about the stuff. So yeah, that is the update for Corey Richins. I just want to see where you guys are in the chat. Oh yeah, sports. Yeah, Paul has been blowing up our group chat in regards to the Olympics. Let's see. Maybe she's like James and only uses other people's urine recreationally. I mean, yeah, when that was brought up, I knew her history, Carmen's drug history was going to be brought up, but when they brought the urine, test, I was like, oh shit. And yeah, didn't play out so well on cross, but that's the defense's job. I mean, if it's there, it should be mentioned. It's just, she's one of, pins and needles when I was watching that. So it's like, oh, here we go. I knew stuff was coming. Hi, Brian. Hope you're doing good. So far, good start to your weekend. Dangerous drugs. Absolutely. Absolutely. Very well said. So, yeah, keep you guys posted on this. Again, we go into week 2 of the trial next week as of Monday. Okay, this one. Oh, this case. I'm going to save this one for last. Save that one for last. Okay. So just skipping my notes here. Update. We have not talked about Ashley Benefield for, months and months and months now, right? She was the former ballerina who was behind she was found guilty of manslaughter in the death of her husband, Doug, who she claimed she shot in self-defense. If you guys remember the headlines back then, it was like former ballerina, Ashley Benefield, the ballerina murder, Ashley Benefield. And like as a dancer, I was like, ugh, please, you are giving us a bad name. So why are we talking about her now? It has been a while. Well, she is back in the news. So not for good reasons. She's still getting into trouble. Just a little bit of an update for her. So she got in trouble because prison records are showing she was moved to, quote, disciplinary confinement, end quote, following an incident. In regards to what that incident is, well, officials with the Florida Department of Corrections confirmed that Ashley was moved, quote, following a battery on a correctional officer, end quote. So layman's terms, she assaulted one of the officers there. So she's now in disciplinary confinement. So that's why she is back in the news. And I wanted to give that little update because, yeah, her defense has been trying to make it very clear. Well, when I say her defense, at this point, I mean her attorney, who, of course, is, trying to do their part legally, which they're allowed to do, to try to, speak to the courts or try to get, what do they do, right? Sentence reduced, sentence overturned in any way, shape, or form. That's what they do. While trying to say, she's doing well behind bars, she's a model, a model inmate doing all the right things, so on and so forth. You can't argue that when she's assaulting an officer. It makes her job a little bit tougher. I just found that very ironic because, again, it's not like we're talking about someone who's been behind bars for 5-10 years at this point, and there's been like one incident. No, this is recent. This is recent that you were just found guilty, and this is recent that you're now assaulting an officer. It's not good, not good. But that's what's happening. Let's see. I'm not sure if I heard of this case. Well, Tony, you also, to be fair, have never heard of the Karen Reed case. So who can say? Yeah, Kate, she went right. She's a tiny woman, but in the end, assault on an officer is a very broad term that could mean so many things, leading to Brian's thought of maybe she bit him. That's a possibility. There was, last I checked, and I really tried to research what this was, could not find specifically what the assault on the officer was. Again, very broad statement, could mean many things. But yeah, all of the, you're absolutely right. She's a very, very lightweight woman. So that plays into it. That ran through my head too. I don't know. And I curiosity of me wants to know what happened, but we may not know. We may not know for some time. It will come out. It always comes out. Especially if her defense is, again, I say defense, her attorney representing her at this point in her incarceration. It will come out because, again, if you're trying to argue that your client is a model inmate and doing all the right things, and then this comes up, it will be brought up. It will be brought up. So when that happens, I will update. But yeah, when I saw her back in the headlines this week, I was like, wait, what? Ashley Benefield? What? And then I saw what it was. And I was like, oh, okay. Tony Stewart, I see inmates in local jails getting indicted for spitting on. Possibility. That's a possibility too, right? Because it's such a vague statement. So yeah, all those ideas are on the table. So moving on. See. Okay, another short one because we don't have a lot of information. At first, I wasn't sure if I was going to cover this because I was like, I don't know. Are people would you guys as my audience be interested in this? But it kind of got more and more and more in the media. And I was like, we'll discuss it. So what that is Caleb Flynn. So for anybody familiar with the show American Idol, so he is a former American Idol contestant, and he has been charged in connection with the death of his wife, Ashley Flynn. So his mugshot from being arrested has been plastered everywhere. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then it's like, just scrolling and through like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, it's just been everywhere. So I was like, all right, we'll discuss it. So specifically, Caleb was taken into custody and charged with murder after investigators found Ashley's body at a home in Troy, Ohio. In regards to what the possible motive was for this murder, we have not even heard what that is. So we do not have much information at all. Like the little bit I just told you is what we got. I think obviously because there is that reality TV contestant star aspect to it, this definitely got a lot more publicity. It's just the day we're in, right? It kind of makes sense. I will say I'm not one of those like singing show type of fans. I'm more of like Dancing with the Stars. So you think you can dance, that type of stuff. I mean, shocking, right? I'm a dancer and I watch dance shows. But I will say I watched American Idol for, I think it was literally one season. And it was when I was in college because one of my college roommates liked the show. And so like I didn't mind it for that season. And then like I was like, okay, like some of these contestants aren't bad. And that was the one season that was with Chris Daughtry. And I just absolutely loved him and his style. So that kind of drew me in. But other than that, I've not watched any other season. So in regards to who Caleb Flynn was, I can't honestly say that like, oh, I watched that show. I know who that was. Because I didn't watch it with him. I only watched one season ever. But nonetheless, it seems that a lot of people, from what I was kind of seeing with comments, do recognize who he was from the show. So I'm guessing he made it a decent amount while he was on his season. But at the end of the day, irrelevant, doesn't matter. He's charged in connection with the death of his wife. So as more unfolds, I will definitely keep you guys posted because this is something that has very much kind of piqued my interest. So yeah. Brian, I have heard of him, as has the world, that he never made it on, but his audition, yeah. And Brian, you are taking me back, hun. You are taking me back. I have not thought of that name for, oh my God, over 10 years now or something like that? Oh my God, that was a while ago. That was a long time. Oh my God. You're bringing me back. Yeah, William Hung. American Idol, another tie. So yeah, I will keep you guys posted on that, anything with Caleb Flynn. So 2 more cases that we are going to be talking about tonight. So this one I followed just minimally. I'll be perfectly honest, very minimally on my own. This is one that one of my coworkers is really, really into. anytime I see this one coworker in particular, she mentions, oh, Paul Canero. And I'm like, I just know a little bit. So I've learned a bit through her. And then I was like, all right, following it a little bit on my own. But I want to discuss, he's back in the news this week in regards to he plans to appeal the jury's verdict. But we're going to rewind because we have not talked about it on this channel. So I want to give you guys the kind of full picture. And it was him popping back up in the news about wanting to, again, with his defense, appeal the jury's verdict. I was like, all right, yeah, let's bring it back to the beginning, talk about who he was and what he did and what he was ultimately found guilty of. Say what? Say what, Tony? I'm not Shelly. I'm not going to make you a fabulous home-cooked meal like on the side here. No. I ain't Shelly. And I mean that very lovingly of Shelly because, yeah, when she visits Beckham, she goes all out for him, which is amazing. Do I think he deserves that? No, but she does. So yeah, nope, sorry. But if you're getting super hungry, go do your thing and yeah, catch it on replay. Or again, I only have 2 more cases to update you on, so it won't be much longer. I forget, Tony Stewart, what time zone that you're on, because it's 10 here. So I can't forget. I know you're behind, but I can't remember how many hours behind you are. K-Dog, did you ever cover the Pike County, Ohio murders? I think they have one more trial pending. Wow, case. I did not cover that in regards to, I have, when I would cover like case episodes devoted to like one particular case, I never covered that. I have followed it just kind of in the news as it's unfolded throughout all of the kind of trials and tribulations connected to it. I'm trying to think, K-Dog, if I talked about it in a True Crime and Chill. I feel like I might have way back. But I didn't, for like a little bit of time, I didn't keep the True Crime and Chills up on my channel. Like after like a couple of weeks, I would just delete it because my thought was like, oh, who's going to go back and kind of watch like, oh, what happened? And I regret that. I wish I didn't delete those because, spend a lot of time doing it. And just if people want to go back and be like, oh my God, yeah, that did happen. So that being said, I want to say I talked about an update at some point, but I can't be 100% certain, K-Dog. One more trial pending. Yeah, absolutely. That has been one that has been discussed, oh my God, for like years now. Years now. So with one more trial pending, that will be a True Crime and Chill, I can assure you. And that will be a True Crime and Chill that is kept up because I keep them all now. I keep them all. Nothing gets deleted. So all the times I butcher names, yeah, they're all on YouTube. It's all, it is what it is. But yeah, thanks for asking about that. Yeah, I haven't like covered it in an episode though. You guys are so bad. Really? Okay. My bad. I thought you were 2 hours behind for some reason. Yeah, in my head, I just thought 2 hours behind. Who doesn't? We need a scorecard for all this crap. I mean, it never ends, Brian. It never, ever ends. Yeah. Which is sad. It's just sad because so unnecessary. Like all of these things we're talking about, so unnecessary. Like never should happen. And that's one of the things I feel like, what was it, a week ago, y'all, or like 2 weeks ago, where Beckham and me were just going back and forth. And it's just like another person killing their spouse, another, like over and over all of these cases, this and that. And it's like, so you think you're going to be the one to not get caught? Is it financial motive? You don't want to share custody of the kids, so on and so forth. It's like all unnecessary because then what happens? Now there's kids without a father. It's just like, yeah. Oh my gosh. Absolutely. Absolutely. I know, but what can I do? What can I do? The way to my heart used to be through Starbucks, but nope. I am on I think I've talked about before, like mega tea. Like I'm obsessed with mega teas, like obsessed. Anywhere I'm like needing to venture out, I'm just like, oh, is there a place nearby that does mega teas? Or like protein shakes, coffees, all that fun stuff. That's like my new thing. Yeah. But anyway. So yeah, okay. I threw his name at you guys, and then we got on a little bit of a sidetrack. So Paul Canero. So let's rewind and see why he is at the place he's at right now, trying to appeal the jury's verdict. So he was found guilty of murdering his brother, sister-in-law, niece, and nephew. He was found guilty only 2 weeks ago. So this is very, very new. And in hindsight, like, shame on me for not talking about that when the verdict was in. Again, I was like following it on the side, talking about it with one of my coworkers who's following this like to a T. I should have discussed it then. But nonetheless, it was only 2 weeks ago. We're here now. So not bad timing. So Paul Canero, he was initially charged in the November 2018, killing of his brother Keith, and then fatally stabbing his sister-in-law Jennifer and his young niece and nephew, Jesse and Sophia. He then set their home on fire. The thing is, Paul was also accused of starting a fire at his own home. Not only that, in his own home were his wife and 2 daughters. Paul was also charged with multiple arson and weapons offenses, misapplication of an entrusted property, and hindering the prosecution. Why? That's a lot of crime that we just reviewed in a short period of time. And a lot of what is the right word when you try to set your house on fire with your wife and your kids inside? There's really no word for it, right? So the prosecutors were saying during the trial that Paul's motive was that he would receive a $1.5 million payout from an insurance policy if his brother's family died. He was also about to be cut off from the family's technology company after money went missing from the firm. So it's worth noting that this was a very well-off financially family. So that's just kind of something to keep in mind here, because a lot of what the prosecution was implying was a financial motive, and a very large amount financial motive. So Keith, the brother that was murdered, said in an email the night before the murders that he would stop paying his brother's wife until he could find those missing funds. Again, those funds that Paul is accused of taking. Prosecutors told the jury that Paul's clothes were hidden in his basement, and when they recovered it, his niece's blood was on them. They also found a gas can in his driveway regarding evidence of an arson, because an arson does play into effect in this case. So jurors saw a massive amount of evidence. And I know that's just like a blanket statement. When I was looking through it for possibly typing up for notes and then kind of just recapping what I saw last week, I was like, oh my God, there's so much to go over. So a lot of the evidence does point to Paul being behind these crimes. And again, the most damning pieces I just kind of mentioned to you guys: the clothing, the niece's blood on it, all of that. There is also security camera footage of him coming and going at different times before and after the crimes. There was a lot of evidence that the jury saw. So when the prosecution and the defense rested, and the case was given to the jury to deliberate. It took them only 4 hours. 4 hours. That was insane when that happened. And they found him guilty on all 15 counts. Throughout, Paul has maintained his innocence. His defense attorney during the trial, oh my God, when this happened, I was like, what? Tried to blame another person on the murders. They tried to bring in a third brother and say the third brother, he is responsible for this. In the end, I don't feel they did a good job. The jury clearly doesn't feel they did a good job. The prosecutors were quick to be like, yeah, no, that's a false theory, and just the evidence does not support dragging in a third person. So in the end, the jury found him guilty. That was 2 weeks ago. This week, again, filing to get an appeal on the jury's verdict. So we'll see how that goes. I don't think that's going to happen. I truly do not think that's going to happen. From what I remember from the trial, again, that just ended 2 weeks ago, everything seems pretty cut and dry by the book. There was nothing that stood out where I'm like, there could be a technicality or whatnot. So if all goes according to schedule and Paul is not successful in getting that jury's verdict overturned, he is sentenced, is scheduling a sentencing for May 12th. So back in court May 12th. I will keep you guys posted on this in real time. Again, I look back and I'm like 2 weeks ago, I'm like, oh, we should have talked about that. I should have added that to the docket because I was following it anyway. But nonetheless, that is that. Any updates, I will keep you guys posted. But other than that, May 12th sentencing for Paul Canero. See where you guys are in the chat. Hi, Wolf. I love Danny's hair tonight. It looks awesome and natural. Thank you. Oh my gosh, that is so sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, look. We gotta read this. And I haven't even skimmed it. I just saw if Danny. I'm wondering if there'll be a timeout at the end of this. Tony Stewart. I hope my eyes are getting across my thoughts. A little more than an hour, with Blame Beckham. Oh my God, we need a t-shirt that says that. Blame Beckham. Oh. Brilliant idea. Brilliant. Hello, Shark94550. Welcome. Brian saying, I assume she talked about Nancy Guthrie already. Yes. Yes, I talked about that at the very beginning. So yeah, go back on replay and check that out. That was the first thing that we just discussed. So, but all good. Tony, I certainly was. So, all right, before I talk about this last case, so my sister is getting married and I am maid of honor. And her, if on the chance she's watching this tonight, I'm not ruining any surprises. So her shower is in a few weeks. And before I went live, I was literally with, going back and forth with the other bridesmaids, going over like last minute shower details. Cause it's like, yes, it's only, a few weeks away, but it's like, oh my God, it's only a few weeks away type of thing. So it's like finalizing, the meals, the decor, the gifts, gifts for like the attendees. There's a lot to it. So it was like so much like back and forth of like those last minute, like, okay, now we have the numbers of how many people are attending. And there's so much, but glad to do it for my sister. But yeah, it was back and forth. And I finally like said to the group chat, I was like, I have to go live now. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow because it will be late once we finish. And they all have young kids. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not messaging them at like 11 at night. So that's why I was 5 minutes late, Tony Stewart. My sincere apologies. Planning. Oh my gosh. It's fun, but I'm like so excited for my sister, but then also just like, oh my God. Like to me, she's like who wants to marry her? Like she was just like, like I still envision her as that like annoying sister. But I'm like, that annoying sister is now like a woman getting married. It's just weird. But yeah, lots of planning. And yeah, it's all fun. It's all fun things. But yeah. All right. I think that is actually, oh my gosh, the perfect segue into this last case we are talking about tonight. I sent this link with it was like a quick recap of it to like a few friends and a few like, coworkers that like follow true crime. And I was like, did you guys read about this? Did you hear about this? I saw it and like I came across my research for this week and I was like, oh yeah, no, we're talking about it. It's like, it's one of those cases where, I mean, again, what did I just say like 5 minutes ago? It's all unnecessary. All of these murders, unnecessary, not warranted. But this adds the element of like, oh my God. I hate to say the word adding humor to it but you'll see what I mean. And I honestly, congrats to Danny's sister. Thanks, Wolf. I feel like talking about like, oh, here's like going to be this, my sister newlywed bride. Let's get to the other end of things. And if you guys have heard this, when I say his name, please tell me in the chat. William Elmwood Simmons. 83-year-old man from Florida. So William Simmons was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. This happened after he shot his wife, Nancy, in their home. They were arguing about a cruise. The argument occurred while they were in the kitchen. Nancy was 83 years old and also suffering from dementia. So this argument is happening, again, over a cruise. He leaves the kitchen to go into the bedroom. And here's what happens. Police question William, what happened? And he says, quote, I do know what happened. I did it, end quote. Again, he left the kitchen, arguing with his wife, went to grab a shotgun from the bedroom, returned to the kitchen, and fired the single shot at Nancy. He stated to police that he was fed up with her dementia, missed the woman she was, and, quote, would rather go to prison than deal with her, end quote. Okay. William told police he was not under the influence. He was not under attack when he shot Nancy. He knew exactly what he was doing. Police recovered the gun and the one spent round. William Simmons, back when he, again, 83 years old at this point, back when he worked, he used to be a police officer. He's currently being held without bail. Wow. Brian, right? Like, I'm still stunned when I read this. Like, on the one hand, I'm like, oh my God, this poor woman suffering from dementia. Like, dementia is no joke. Alzheimer's is no joke. It is brutal. It is brutal on the individual. It is really brutal on the caregiver, like the family, the partner. Again, if there's, any hired caregivers in the home, like it's a brutal disease. I'm not downplaying that by any means. And essentially, for the family, for the loved ones, you're losing that person. They're physically there, but mentally they're not. And it's sad and it's hard. So in regards to him saying to police, like, I'm fed up with her dementia and I miss the woman she once was. Oh my God. Like, that's heartbreaking. That is heartbreaking. And I felt for him with those statements. I felt for him. But then when we rewind and take ourselves just a little bit, take a few steps back, you used to be a police officer. You are arguing about a cruise. You say to law enforcement you would rather go to prison than deal with her. And then, oh my God, the law enforcement officers who had to respond to that, from what I read in the research, they were really doing their due diligence of let's look at all angles. Could he have not known what he did? Could he have been under the influence of something? Trying to make maybe a little bit more rational sense. And William's like, oh, no, I know what happened. I know what I did. Here's what I'm not under the influence of anything. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. Crazy. So that is what happened this week in regards to William Simmons being in the news. So I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be following this. I'm not going to lie. I just, wow. There's no words. But, so Tony Stewart's to him, prison may be a nice long vacation. I mean, I feel bad for him in the caregiver position, his wife, her health declining, dementia. I do feel for him for that, but the steps he did because he was fed up. I mean, inexcusable. Yeah, wild. And he used to be a police officer. When I read that, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Wild. This reminds you of your sister's wedding to be. No, Wolf. I'm just saying it's how love starts, how love ends. Just get a cat or 2 or 6. Tony Stewart, what did you just type in the chat that I missed? Me and him would be best friends. Tony, you are crazy. I know you mean that with love, hon. Yeah, crazy. So yeah, that is all I got this week for the True Crime and Chill. Somebody do a well-being SOS check on James Watson. Make sure he's okay because he's not in the chat tonight, which is very unlike him. Beckham will be back next week. And yeah, feel free to give him shit in the meantime. Send him a message. Be like, hey, you weren't on with Danny this week. It was a shorter show. Or, hey, you weren't on with Danny this week, and it was such a better show because you weren't there. I mean, feel free. Yeah. Karen says, Danny, I wish your sister much happiness. Thanks. Yeah. She's getting married in a few months. But then the shower's a few weeks away. And then, yeah, all the fun stuff that goes with it, like bachelorette party planning, and which, yeah, there's a lot in the works, but it's all good. Wolf says, I've been visiting in an Alzheimer's ward. It's so rough. It absolutely is. Yeah, it's so difficult. It is so difficult. I know so many people speak about in regards to how it is for the person who suffers from it, which it absolutely is. But I think there needs to be a lot of grace and acknowledgement of how difficult it is for the family members, the loved ones, the caregivers, because again, your loved one's right in front of you. Physically, they are right there, but they're not. Mentally, they're not, and it's sad. It is so sad. So I'm really sad. I'm bummed for you having to visit. I hope, again, none of our business, the reason that you are going and visiting, I hope everything, just take care of yourself and take as best care of, whoever it is that you're visiting. And that's really all I can say. So it's tough. It's rough. Absolutely. You are so welcome. And Brian, go back to the very, very beginning. After just go through the chit chat if you want to skip that or watch that too. And Nancy Guthrie was the first one that we talked about tonight, hon. Probably, but that's okay. That's okay. So, all right, everybody, that is it for this week's True Crime and Chill Vote for Book Club. When you exit out of the show tonight, if you have not already and want to be a part of book club or just want to vote and see which one you want me to read and review, vote for book club and get that in by next week. So everybody enjoy the rest of your evening and the rest of your weekend. I will see y'all next week with the part 1 interview of the gentleman that I got to interview a few weeks ago. And again, I'm so being vague because I can't be, but I'll announce that soon and you will see the event scheduled. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, remember everybody, we don't live in darkness. Darkness lives in us. Bye.